Hey guys, this is TOSTEMAC'S. This video is going to be a little bit different. Sorry, no gameplays today or theatrics with Thomas. Look at that amateur. You know, it's kind of hard to imagine that this was me around 2 years ago. And now, look where we are. Hey everyone, I'm Steven from TOSTEMAC'S, and welcome to our 50th Autism Vlog. Wow, 50 Autism Vlogs, half 100, the big 5-0. And I gotta say, looking back to where we all started to the point where we are now, I gotta say guys, it has been an incredible journey. Like, we've been on radio shows, we've been on a live TV show, I've hosted an autism event for the first time ever, as well as collaborated with other autistic vloggers. But you wanna know what the best part about all that was? Was knowing that you guys were with us every step of the way. Without you guys, none of this would have been possible. So I'd like to say that to all the newcomers, as well as those who have been around since the beginning of the Autism Vlogs, since the beginning of TOSTEMAC'S, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And yes, unlike my younger brother Thomas, I actually do have a heart. But enough about that. Let's get to today's topic, shall we? So, for today's topic, I wanted to go over something very special. Like, this is the 50th Autism Vlog. I can't just cover any topic about autism, nor could I find a news article about autism that would do this milestone justice. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna let you guys in on one of my biggest secrets to success. Something that has helped me to get to where I am today, having a full-time job, well connected with the autism community, as well as being a fun and entertaining guy to be around. The secret I'm talking about is coping mechanisms. So, what is a coping mechanism, you may ask? Well, before we look at the phrase as a whole, why don't we look at the two words separately, shall we? Coping is defined as dealing effectively with something difficult, whereas with mechanisms, they are defined as a natural or established process by which something takes place or is brought about. So, putting those two words together, a coping mechanism is... Coping mechanisms are ways to which external or internal stress is managed, adapted to, or acted upon. And yes, even after all these years, I'm still reading off the screen. Don't judge me! And the thing about coping mechanisms is that it's not just for autistics. In a way, anyone and everyone uses a coping mechanism of some sort to help them get through stressful times and adapt to the current situation. Let's look at a few examples, shall we? I don't know how many of you remember the Nickelodeon series Doug, but for those who do, whenever Doug is faced with a stressful situation, he often thinks it out in his head, like going to this dream-like, over-exaggerated version of the current situation. But by playing it in his head, not only is he able to think things through, he also prevents himself from breaking down or saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Another good example is for those who have played the series Mass Effect. There's a character known as Joker who always cracks jokes here and there. It's kind of like every other line he says, but it's not to belittle or make a joke of the situation, but rather his way of adapting to the stressful situation. I mean, let's face it, there's nothing more stressful than saving the galaxy from a bunch of alien beings that want to destroy everything. Now, a lot of you may be asking, but Steven, why do autistics need a coping mechanism? Or why do autistics need coping mechanisms more than a neurotypical? Well, For those who have seen the previous autism vlogs I've done, particularly the ones talking about stress and overstimulation and meltdowns, you'll probably have a good idea as to why. Now, for those who haven't seen the autism vlogs, and why haven't you? Allow me to give a brief summary as to why. Think back to the last time you went to a restaurant, or maybe a music concert, or maybe some form of a public event and whatnot. Have you ever stopped to consider some of the things going on in the environment, like the food that's being presented, the music playing in the background, or the random conversations that people have? The thing is, all those elements can cause something called stimulation. And it builds up a lot of energy in the brain as it draws your attention to everything that's happening around you. But the thing is, though, is that too much of that energy can cause a bit of overstimulation in the brain. And when the brain gets too stimulated, it can often lead to a person being very stressed, not being able to think straight because of everything that's going on, or just potentially having a breakdown or a meltdown. So, by using a coping mechanism, be it either jokes or stimming or some other form of a coping mechanism, you can help relieve the stress in your head and be able to think straight and help adapt to the situation that you're in right now. That way everybody has a more fun time. So now that we know what a coping mechanism is, as well as why people need to use a coping mechanism sometimes, I'm going to share with you guys some of the coping mechanisms that I use in order to succeed. I'm feeling generous today, so how about I share 3 of them with you? Number 1, set a mission. Wherever you're going, be it either a restaurant or a public event, or maybe out in the park and whatnot, try to set a goal and stick with that goal. Be it either maybe try new food, interact with a certain number of people, stay at the place for a certain amount of time, or hand out a certain number of business cards and whatnot. Whenever you set a goal to accomplish, you're focused on that goal. And while everything may be happening around you, and while you may acknowledge that it's happening, you won't be distracted or overwhelmed with everything that's going on, because you're there for a reason, you know what to do, and you gotta get it done. Now, the second coping mechanism that I use for success is play out a role. Do you recall a while back when I did an autism vlog about an autistic actor in Syracuse, New York? You do? Great. Well, there are certain lines from that article that I remember, but I also feel it's kind of relevant to this particular situation. Here, let me read out the lines for you. This is easy-ish for me because you're a reporter, I'm the interviewee. He said when we'd been talking a while, we have specific roles. If we met on the street, that would be more scary. That's how he's felt about performing too, ever since he was little. Perfectly comfortable as long as he knows the part he's meant to play. So, in a way, if you know what role you're going to play, be it either a guest at someone else's house, a cashier at a workplace, or maybe something else entirely, if you know your role and know what is expected out of that role, you can deal with a situation much easier rather than walk around like a chicken with your head cut off. And if that's too graphic, I apologize for that. So let me give an example on that. I used to be a freelance photographer, like I would go to events and photograph, so I know what was expected of me. I would go to events like 15 minutes early to ensure that I was on time for the event. I would ask the people in charge of the event, like, is there anything in particular you want me to photograph? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? And figure out what time certain things are happening at certain events, and hand out the business cards after I photographed the people in question. So knowing these expectations, I was able to blend in just fine, as well as start conversations with random people, because when I had the camera and they know I'm the photographer for the event, they're more likely to talk to me. So what I did was I would just get their attention, like, hey, mind if I take some pictures of you guys real quick? Awesome. Get behind the camera, get all together, smile like you mean it, click, click. Then I would show the photos to them, hand out business cards, and that's when I would start the conversation. Like, so how are you guys enjoying the event tonight? What brought you here? Like, are there any particular favorites and whatnot? So once I knew the role I was going to play, it was easier for me to get the work done and cope with all the energy going on around me. And now, the final and third coping mechanism that I use is, if need be, take a break. There's nothing wrong with asking to step out of the room or step out of the event just to take a breather for a few minutes and whatnot. Everyone does that, from school to work to any kind of event at all. If you're feeling overstimulated or stressed out, feel free to excuse yourself. No one will blame you or criticize you for that. Just say something like, oh, I need to step out for a few minutes and whatnot. Just go out, take a deep breath, relax, get yourself calm, and whenever you're ready, just jump right back in. Well, maybe not jump right back in, but you get the idea. So, in a quick overview, we've went over what a coping mechanism is, why people need to use coping mechanisms here and there, as well as 3 of my personal coping mechanisms, which are set a mission, play out a role, and if need be, take a break. So what do you guys think? What are some of the coping mechanisms that you use in a stressful situation or when you're going out to a public place? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog. Thank you very much for joining me on this momentous occasion, our 50th Autism Vlog. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest vlogs. Also, feel free to join the conversation down below, and if you have any topics that you would like for me to cover, let me know as well. I'm more than happy to hear it. So, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on the 50th Autism Vlog, and until the next video, here's to 100.